Imagine spending more than 20 years building the world's most powerful search engine, only to wake up one morning and realize that millions of people suddenly don't need it anymore. That sounds impossible. But in late 2022, that's exactly what happened. All AI company released a simple chatbot, no flashy product launch, no billion-dollar marketing campaign, just a text box on a website. Students were writing essays with it. Developers were generating code in seconds. Businesses were replacing hours of work with a single prompt. And for the first time in decades, Google wasn't leading the future. It was chasing it. But here's the craziest part. OpenAI was never supposed to win this race. It wasn't the richest AI company. It wasn't the biggest. And at one point, it was running out of money so fast that many believed its mission would never survive. So how did a small research lab force every tech giant on Earth into an AI arms race and completely change the future of technology? We need to go back to a time when almost nobody cared about artificial intelligence. To answer that, back in 2015, artificial intelligence wasn't dominating headlines. Most people associated AI with Hollywood movies, self-driving robots, or science fiction. But inside Silicon Valley, a different story was unfolding. Companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Amazon had already realized something that the rest of the world hadn't. The next trillion-dollar revolution wouldn't be social media. It wouldn't be smartphones. It would be artificial intelligence. The problem was, only a handful of companies had enough money, computing power, and engineering talent to build truly advanced AI systems, which raised a dangerous question. What happens if one company becomes smarter than everyone else? Some of the brightest minds in tech believe that future could become incredibly risky. Among them was entrepreneur Sam Altman, along with researchers who believed AI should benefit everyone, not just one corporation. So in December 2015, they launched OpenAI. The mission sounded almost impossible. Build artificial general intelligence, but make sure it benefits all of humanity. It was an inspiring vision, but there was one massive problem. Good intentions don't train AI models. Money does. And OpenAI was about to discover just how expensive the future really was. Every breakthrough brought them one step closer to changing the world, but also one step closer to running out of cash. Building advanced AI isn't like creating a mobile app. It isn't even like building a search engine. Every new model requires enormous amounts of data. Thousands of high-performance GPUs, massive data centers running day and night, and teams of world-class researchers. Every experiment costs millions of dollars. Every improvement costs even more. Meanwhile, the competition wasn't slowing down. Google was investing heavily in DeepMind. Facebook was expanding its AI research teams. Microsoft was quietly preparing for the next generation of cloud computing. Compared to these giants, OpenAI looked like an underdog. Many people believed the company would eventually fall behind, not because it lacked talent, but because it lacked resources. And for a while, that prediction looked absolutely correct. By 2018, the organization faced a harsh reality. Its mission was bigger than its bank account. Without billions of dollars, the dream of building world-changing AI would eventually die. Then, everything changed. In 2019, Microsoft made one of the boldest bets in modern technology. It invested $1 billion into OpenAI. To many people, it looked like just another corporate investment. But behind the scenes, it completely changed the direction of the AI race. OpenAI suddenly had access to Microsoft's Azure supercomputers, unmatched cloud infrastructure, and the computing power it desperately needed. For the first time, the small research lab had a real chance to compete with Silicon Valley's biggest giants. But even then, almost nobody expected what would happen next, because the product that would change the technology industry forever didn't look revolutionary. There were no robots, no futuristic gadgets, no billion-dollar hardware launch. Just a blank screen, a blinking cursor, and one simple question: how can I help you today? On November 30th, 2022, OpenAI quietly released ChatGPT. There was no stadium event, no celebrity keynote, no flashy commercial. Just a simple website with a blank text box. At first, it didn't look like the next big thing, but the moment people started typing, everything changed. Students asked it to explain complex subjects in seconds. Software developers generated working code almost instantly. Writers brainstormed ideas faster than ever before. Business owners drafted emails, proposals, and marketing campaigns with a single prompt. For millions of people, this wasn't just another app. It felt like talking to the future. Then the numbers started coming in. 1 million users in just 5 days. A milestone that took Netflix over 3 years, Facebook 10 months, and Instagram nearly 3 months to reach. Just 2 months later, ChatGPT crossed 100 million monthly users, becoming the fastest-growing consumer application in history. Silicon Valley had seen successful product launches before, but nothing moved this fast. Inside Google, executives reportedly declared a code red. For more than 2 decades, Google had been the front door to the internet. If people stopped searching and started asking AI instead, the company risked losing the business model that generated hundreds of billions of dollars. The pressure was immediate. Microsoft wasted no time integrating OpenAI's technology into Bing. Suddenly, for the first time in years, Google had real competition in search, and the AI arms race officially began. Every major tech company accelerated its AI projects. Meta, Amazon, Apple, Anthropic, everyone wanted a seat at the table. But while the outside world celebrated OpenAI's biggest victory, inside the company, a storm was quietly building, one that nobody saw coming. The company that had just changed the future of technology was only days away from firing the man who helped build it. In November 2023, the tech world woke up to shocking news. OpenAI's board had fired CEO Sam Altman. No warning, no long explanation. Just one announcement that instantly sent shockwaves across Silicon Valley. Investors were confused, employees were furious. Microsoft, which had invested billions into OpenAI, was caught completely off guard. Then, something extraordinary happened. Nearly every OpenAI employee signed a letter demanding Altman's return. Many threatened to resign if the board refused. Meanwhile, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella publicly announced that Sam Altman would join Microsoft if necessary. The pressure became impossible to ignore. Just a few days later, the board reversed its decision. Sam Altman returned as CEO. It became one of the most dramatic leadership reversals in technology history. But the story wasn't really about one executive. It revealed something much bigger. OpenAI had become too important, not just to Microsoft, but to the entire technology industry. The AI race was now moving too fast for anyone to hit the brakes, and the biggest impact wasn't ChatGPT itself. It was what happened next. Today, almost every major technology company has reinvented its strategy around AI. Google launched Gemini. Microsoft introduced Copilot across Windows, Office, and GitHub. Meta released its Llama models. Amazon invested billions into generative AI. Apple entered the race with Apple Intelligence. Even companies outside the tech industry, banks, hospitals, law firms, movie studios, and schools are rebuilding the way they work, not because AI is a trend, but because they believe it's the next computing platform. Just as the internet transformed business in the 1990s and smartphones reshaped the world in the 2000s, artificial intelligence is redefining the way humans create, communicate, and solve problems. OpenAI didn't just launch a chatbot. It forced an entire industry to ask one uncomfortable question. If we don't adapt, will we survive? And in business, history has shown us what happens to companies that ignore the next big shift. Kodak ignored digital cameras. Blockbuster ignored streaming. BlackBerry ignored smartphones. The next company to ignore AI could become the next name on that list. But here's what's truly fascinating. OpenAI may have built the software that started the AI revolution, but none of it would have been possible without one company quietly building the hardware behind the scenes. A company that spent decades preparing for a future almost nobody believed in. That company was NVIDIA. And trust me, its story is even more unbelievable than OpenAI's. I'll see you in the next one.